So today I'm going to talk a little bit about feet and how you should have a natural arch. So when you look at the foot, we should see an arch here underneath the foot, and this is actually kind of our shock absorber in a lot of ways. And what you'll see it happen to a lot of people is they get, for many reasons, I often call it a navicular drop, your navicular bone here, but the foot starts to drop inward. And when you see that happen, oftentimes it actually changes the position of the tibia as well, and you start developing what most people just refer to as flat feet. Now this has a couple problems when you overpronate here, because as you overpronate, and I'm trying to force it here to exaggerate it, but you're torquing on the ankle, it's actually going to twist inward, and then on top of that you're now also losing that shock absorption because the foot doesn't have an arch to absorb the impacts. So one of the things I like to point out to people is, first off, when you look at your feet, how do you stand? A lot of people, you'll notice that they'll stand outward like this. This almost encourages more of that pronation where you're going to start developing that flat foot. So whenever you squat, whenever you deadlift, whenever you clean, things like that, those power movements, you want to work with your feet straight because that's where we want our feet to be. Now, for people who already have flat feet, you have to do a lot of work to try to undo this. So one of the exercises that I often pose to people is I have them take a look at their foot and I have them raise their toes up. And as you can see, even though I already have an arch, it exaggerates my arch that much more to raise my toes up. What we're going to do, we're going to hold this isometrically, and I'm just going to stand on one foot and balance here. And this is a very boring exercise, but it's very, very effective. I'll often hold this for maybe a minute to 2 minutes, and then I'll switch feet, just go to the other side, and same exact thing, just holding this here. It really strengthens the arch, and of course you've got the isometric, and you're going to build a little bit of proprioception as well, which is why I recommend doing this in bare feet. You can use the kitchen floor, any hard surface. I don't recommend using carpet. If you do it on a carpeted floor, your foot kind of sinks in a little bit, and you may find that it actually allows you to kind of cheat because you're sinking into that carpet, so you actually get some pressure on the arch there. It makes it actually too easy to do this drill. Now, if you want to make it more difficult, you can start adding in things like kettlebells, and you could do something as simple as just like a single leg Romanian deadlift. So you would actually just keep that arch there, and you'd come down, and you'd come back up. Make sure you're hinging at the hip, you're not rounding your back, but notice I'm still maintaining that arch there. And another thing I like to do is if I maintain this arch in my foot, and I'll do things like pistol squats, keeping those toes up the whole time, and then standing back up. Now if you look at the foot from behind, even whenever I just do an air squat, if I allow my feet to drop in, it encourages my knees to come together. So I want to push my knees apart when I squat, and that also, as you can see this line created by the Achilles tendon, pushing my knees apart when I squat will encourage that arch to stay there. If I allow my knees to collapse, I immediately lose my arches. So the drill for you, if you have flat feet, is to start working on that arch. Barefoot training can be very effective, but also that isometric hold of just simply locking that foot up there and then just holding that arch as tight as you possibly can. You're going to feel some movement. Obviously you're going to need a little bit of balance, but you'll develop it over time, and the longer you can hold this for, the better that arch will develop. You'll notice you may actually even go down a couple sizes in your shoes, half sizes, but your feet actually will shorten up as your arch comes back. And that's it for today.